According to a report published by Innovation, Science and Economic Development Canada, between 2014 and 2019, small businesses were responsible for 35.8% of the net employment growth in the private sector, which therefore increased by approximately 772,000 jobs. And as of 2019, these businesses employed roughly 8.4 million individuals in Canada, or better said, 68.8% of the total private labor force. So it's safe to say that small businesses have a direct impact on our job market and economy. But here's the thing. So here's my thing, guys. Aside from, numbers of jobs available, et cetera, what do you think they contribute to a strong economy? Let's start there. What does an entrepreneur contribute to a good economy?
Expanding job base.
Competition.
Yeah, competition. Tax revenue, because they're creating jobs.
Right.
It's a very, very good thing in a strong economy.
Innovation is something you said.
Yeah, and I think it's the ability to have innovative ways of having different types of jobs and
Creative
stuff
thinkers.
as well, right? And it makes it easier for people to kind of find somewhere that they fit in, I think, too. Right? Where you're not forced to fit into a complete different mold. Like you could go and you could find the same job in 10 different kind of companies.
Yeah.
Right? That are all just different people that own those companies and run them differently.
Now, I want to make it, there are some people who view entrepreneurs in a negative way, or, big corporations who were started by, a family or somebody 60 years ago, say Walmart or whatever. Ruth, but what do you think, just to close off some of the positives of being an entrepreneur, what they contribute to a strong economy? What do you see?
I think that they can really be the heart of a community. So if we look at smaller versions of the economy, so like the economy of a neighborhood or the economy of a city, rather than looking at the whole country, I think that they can bring a lot of heart, a lot of passion, and they can really inspire people to want to spend their money and to support the people in their own communities. But then, of course, we also see the downside of that.
Right. So my follow-up to that is, why do people have a negative connotation of when businesses get too big? They were started by entrepreneurs like 40, 60 years ago, and maybe immigrants. Like it's a valid point. Anthony, what do you think?
I think I'm not going to say anything negative about the entrepreneur. Like, I love Jeff Bezos. And I love that story because I love what Amazon grew into. But once it got so big, and people found out all of the tax shelters and they weren't paying their fair share in taxes a lot of the times, that's what started making workers angry. But it's not the entrepreneur you should be upset about. It's the system itself that defends that kind of behavior at that level.
So don't look at the individual person.
No, I think that story's fascinating. How they grew Amazon, or like the eBay story, or Apple Computers, Microsoft. Those are fantastic stories of entrepreneurs.
So should we be regulating it in some way? Like the entrepreneur getting too big? The monopolization of, say, prices, grocery stores?
Well, I think it's weird that one conglomerate owns 5 grocery stores. Yeah, there's something wrong there. But I miss the corner. I miss the corner grocery store. I love the Thorold supermarket. That was awesome. Now it's the IGA or Foodland, whatever it is now.
Ruth, what do you think?
Well, I was thinking, at what point do we stop considering it an entrepreneurial pursuit?
It's something bigger.
Is it when you get 5 employees? Is it when you get 10 employees? Is it when you incorporate, when you cross a certain revenue? So what is the definition of entrepreneur?
So you can say that we should step into these bigger businesses, regulate in some way. Because my big thing is, we're seeing, there's a lot of tension right now with grocery prices, whether it's the federal government's fault or the grocery store, owner's fault, the big conglomerates. But should the government be stepping in, telling them, hey, you cannot do this, otherwise your business is not going to be in Canada? What can you do to stop this?
Price controls don't work. When you look at the 70s, it didn't work. I think small business in Canada, I hope somebody fact checks me on this, I think it's 10 to 49 employees. I don't think it's necessarily revenue. I think it's the number of employees that you have. And I want to be fact checked on that because I remember reading that on the website because I went to go look up some of this stuff. But I don't know regulation, but I think the monopolies that one company owns 5 different companies. That's not competitive to me in an economy. If you hate this grocery store and I'm going to go shop at the one on the corner, well, I own that one, too bad.
And it's safe to say, we can all agree, and everybody can agree, that we need competition.
Yes.
And 100%. Even Frank Stronach says very clearly, one of Canada's best entrepreneurs, says we need small business. So what can we do to encourage more of it? Josh, what do you think?
I think the schooling system is a big thing that needs to change, right? Like the
Better education.
Yeah, better education, but the way that education is formed, right? Education right now as it stands is to push out employees, right? It's not set up to push out entrepreneurs. It's really not.
Just encourage from a younger age.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next segment. But when we come back, why do entrepreneurs struggle or fail? And what can we do about it? Let's see.
I'ma rule the world, yeah.